One of the brightest stars in the WNBL this season is Leilani Mitchell. She grew up in Washington and was Washington State, that is, and was selected in 2008 WNBA draft. She's played all 6 seasons for the New York Liberty and 220 WNBA games. Leilani Mitchell is playing with the Dandenong Rangers in the Australian League. She's currently ranked 2nd in the league for assists, 5th for three-point shooting percentage. But it's her personal story we want to hear more about this morning. Leilani joins us in the studio. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving Day to you.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about your story and why you're considered by Australia to be part Australian.
Yes. Well, my mom grew up in Australia. She was born and raised here. Grew up in Darwin. So she married my father, who is an American, and she ended up going back to the States when they got married. And kind of traveled back and forth, had a few babies here and a few in the States. I was born in the States, but she always wanted me to come back here, and I knew it was always, you know, I just kind of thought it would be cool to do, and the opportunity finally came up, and here I am.
And do you feel like you've got that connection to Australia?
I do. I mean, all my mom's family still lives here. So my aunts and uncles have come to games, and some of them were just here this weekend visiting me, so they've been great. I love it here.
Yeah, and she was born on Thursday Island but grew up in Darwin, so you got that connection to the top end. You must like going up there.
Yes, very hot, but it's nice.
Very different from Washington State as well in terms of temperature.
I mean, Australia is just absolutely beautiful. I love it here.
And tell us about the WNBL compared to the best league in the world that you've been playing for 6 seasons.
It's good competition here. I think the biggest difference is probably the size and athleticism. Back home in the WNBA, I mean, the girls are just a lot taller, stronger, faster, a lot more explosive. Whereas here it's more finesse, better shooters. I think people really understand the game here from top to bottom a lot better than in the States.
So strategically, you mean, and tactics, and all the rest of it.
And what about the level of spectator interest here in Australia compared to the States?
I think we're getting good crowds out at our stadium, which is great. But I think in the States, I mean, basketball is one of our top sports. So, I mean, you guys have footy and rugby and all sorts of other things. So, in the States, it's American football, basketball, and baseball. So, we, in New York, average about 8,000 fans each game. So, it's a bit different.
What about the downside to being a travelling professional? Basketballs go all over the world, and I know that off-air, just before, you were getting text messages from people in the States on Thanksgiving Day. What's it like, that a downside of not being at home, I guess?
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, especially on the holidays. But, you know, with things like Skype and FaceTime, it's easy to stay in touch. But obviously that's where we would like to be.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm thankful for this. You know, I'm living my dream, doing what I love to do, get to travel all over the world, so it's kind of bittersweet.
Yeah. And how are the Rangers travelling at the moment, speaking of travelling?
Our record?
Yeah.
We're struggling a little bit as of late. We're 7-3 right now. We have a big game this weekend against Melbourne, so they're one game ahead of us. So hopefully we can get this win this weekend and we'll get back on track.
Second versus third. I know it's going to be another big game this weekend, and we'll be tracking your build up to the finals with interest, Leilani.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your story this morning.
Thank you for having me.